good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to have a discussion on the Union Budget 2022, which has been just released today afternoon by our Honorable Finance Minister. We are excited to discuss very briefly what our impressions and understanding is about today's budget. In our panel, we have Mr. Ravi Nandan Sinha, Director MSME Business Forum India, Ms. Megha Gupta, Associate Director Transfer Pricing, Anant Bhatia, partner in BNB, Neeru Singh, partner in BNB. To start with, my first question is what were the expectations from this year's budget and to what extent have these expectations been met? And to start with, I would like to invite Mr. Ravi Sinha.
Thank you, Sheetal, and I thank Bhatia and Bhatia for Chartered Accountant firm for organizing this beautiful budget discussion immediately after Honorable Finance Minister has tabled the budget. I think it is very much necessary for us to do a bit of discussion on this budget. Yes, it's. I see it as a very, very encouraging budget. A lot of new things we have heard from our Honorable Finance Minister. It has basically stressed upon the development of the country, the new look of India. I would say an India 2.0. If you categorically see the focus on infra, the focus on IT, the focus on logistics, and most importantly, even the focus on education, because the government feels, the policymakers feel that children have lost out their 2 years into pandemic, and then they are starting a classroom sessions. So I think these are very, very positive signs, very encouraging. At least these topics have been touched upon. Now we have to fine tune it. We have to make more policies out of it. But digitalization, be it rolling out of a digital rupee by the central bank, these are certain topics which now was supposed to be touched beyond what we used to always expect of income tax rebate or this. We have to think beyond that. Now, if a country grows, remember one thing, we all grow. And for all of us to grow, all the segments need to have a progressive thought. And I think this particular budget covers everything. Yes, there are certain aspects which has not been covered. I think over a period of time that will also come in, but these were the priority sectors.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. And I would like to have Mr. Anand sir, your opinion. What are your views on this budget?
For me, this was a very path-breaking budget, like Ravi sir mentioned, because like historically the budgets, and I'll talk from my perspective as being a chartered accountant in practice for so many years, is that, whenever we have the budget introduced, we are, scampering away, seeing what are the latest, tax proposals or the indirect tax proposals. But for once, they have been put on the back burner, and the focus, even from our side, was completely on the developmental proposals. What are the proposals for growth of this country? What are the proposals in terms of growth of the economy? What is the outreach made to the various sectors in terms of incentivizing them to actually go towards the India growth story 2.0? So completely agree with Ravi sir there. I think it was a very progressive budget. And we also have to understand under what circumstances has this budget been introduced? What's happening in the periphery? We are talking about 2 years of a lockdown situation where there was a global pandemic and there was joblessness. There was, a massive decline in consumption. There have been several sectors that have been very badly hit. So the finance minister also had to, keep in view that aspect. Secondly, we also need to understand what's happening in the global scenario at the moment. There is a fair amount of unrest happening in terms of the countries at loggerheads. I mean, we may have a global escalation happening very soon with Russia for the way things are shaping up, including the trade and the Cold War between the US and China. So there is a lot happening around in the global, surroundings as well that the finance minister had to keep in mind before actually framing the current budget. All in all, very progressive, very balanced.
So true. Thank you so much. We would like to understand your viewpoint, Ms. Neeru ma'am.
According to me, it was a very stable budget. Of course, there were some disappointments from individual taxation point of view, but overall, the budget has based itself on the pillars of the economy, she has touched the education, the infrastructure, the agriculture, and she has continued the growth process which she had promised in the last budget. This budget also, she says that the results will forthcoming by 2025, and I hope that it continues, and I'm very confident that the growth prospect will go on.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, Megha, ma'am.
Yeah. So from my perspective, it's a very long-term budget. It's not catering to a particular category. I will say it's really from a very long level. So as we can see that there has been a substantial rise in capital expenditure, and that will actually help in creating the infrastructure. There will be focus on affordable housing.
Okay. I think yes, like through understanding all the viewpoints, I feel yes, it is a very progressive budget. And to continue this, so is there any particular aspect of this union budget which was surprising according to you? So Ravi sir, we would like to understand your viewpoint on this. Like, there was any surprising thing that you feel in the budget?
Ethan, to be very honest, it was a pleasant surprise. I think the points put up by Anand and Neeruji was also saying the same thing. We will not say it as a surprise. It was a very pleasant surprise, because when you hear certain things, I'll give you a very small example. If you see the points on the EV part, for example, the policies will come up on the battery swapping part. Revisit to schemes like CGT MSE. NABARDs will be coming to fund some of the startups. Now, in some of the agri, the direct payouts to farmers, as far as the MSPs are concerned, these are, if you see from a very holistic point of view, extremely positive. And from a compliance point of view, if Honorable Finance Minister is talking in terms of a compliance of an India 2.0, where further compliance are being reduced and there is a trust on the citizens that you declare yourself, I think we are going in the right direction.
Super. Yeah, Anand sir, we would like to understand, like, on your viewpoint, with like which all aspect you feel was like surprising to you.
I think there were quite a few, in fact. One, I think I was very pleasantly surprised with the length of the speech as well. Because in the past, budgets, the speeches have tend to become a bit, I would use the word, too prolonged. This was concise, to the point. And I think, if I understand correctly, from start to end, it was all of 75 minutes. So very crisp.
Yes.
I think there were some very subtle things that she mentioned. The increase in capex, substantial increase in capex, which also underlines the government's commitment to increasing the infrastructure, increasing the entire logistics space in the country. I felt that was a very bold move. And what also I liked, that the FM was the first person to actually admit that yes, they have overshot the expectations in terms of the fiscal deficit. So what was envisaged was 6.8%, but then the government has the fiscal deficit is currently standing at 6.9. So I think that was very honest and transparent on her part to admit this, but at the same time giving the commitment that yes, for the next year, that is financial year 2022-23, she foresees a fiscal deficit to be substantively downturned to about 6.3, 6.4%. So definitely a lot of positive takeaways. Some disappointments, yes. But then I think in a country of 135 crore people, you cannot make everyone happy.
Totally. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Anand. Yes, to continue, Neeru ma'am, we would like to understand your views on this.
She could have passed on some tax benefits to the individuals, to the salaried people, to senior citizens. Especially, I really felt bad because the senior citizens had been planning their life, they had been investing in shares with the hope that the dividend will be a source of income in their later years of life. But suddenly it was scrapped and dividend was put to tax. So some benefit, I think, should have been passed on to the individual taxation. But overall, yes, overall the growth prospects are there. So if you see holistically, it is a good and balanced budget.
Okay. Megha ma'am.
Yes, so I will say, as Neeru ma'am has mentioned, that it was expected that for individuals, obviously they were expecting at least some increase in the standard deduction given the elevated inflation levels and impact of the pandemic, especially on the middle class. But in the end, I will say no bad news. That is a good news.
Okay. Yeah. So, like we have spoken a lot about, so there were budget was highlighted on transportation, infrastructure, EV. So, but what does the budget have for the MSMEs? We wanted to understand, like they are working towards economy development, and MSMEs were hit hard during the pandemic times as well. So, what was there in the budget for MSMEs? Ravi sir, we would like to have your views on this.
Well, the first and a very important part is that there is a guaranteed scheme for MSME which is increased to 50,000 crores. It's a huge allocation. Number two, come to think of it, the emergency credit line scheme has been extended till 2023. What does an MSME requires as a priority? I think all the eminent analysts will agree to me is the credit line, is the funds. You're increasing that funds till 2023. That's number one. After many years, the government is again talking about CGTMSE scheme, which is an unsecured funding. Not forget, we had recommended this, and the government has come out with a PLI scheme of about 19.5 thousand crores. Now, this is certainly going to benefit the MSMEs, and not to forget that MSMEs such as the linking of eShram, NCS, and ASEAN's portals. Now, these are all going to be progressive steps for the MSMEs as well. And as our honorable finance minister said, that they will now perform the portals that they said about B2C and B2C and B2B. They're all centered, keeping the MSMEs in the focal point. So I feel today, as I was telling at the start of this discussion, Anand, Neeruji, Meghaji, and to all the listeners, today the government sees MSME as a priority sector. It's not the end. There will be many more policies coming in, but yes, we started thinking MSME as a as a priority sector.
Sir, being a nodal agency for the MSMEs, do you feel that, and like just as a precursor to when this budget was being introduced, I'm sure you would have had several, let's say, downloads from a lot of the constituent members who would have, come up with their own wish lists. So, what was the common, feel and of all the wish list that was there? What were they really, after? And what did they highlight as a pain point?
Anand, we overall, and I think Neeru ma'am and Meghna ma'am will also agree to the point, is the growth of an MSME is when you are giving a lot of incentives to them. Anand, in China, 90% of the things are related to their production. The PLI schemes are there to a larger extent. In India also, Anand, you having worked in such big consulting firms, we have to get into the culture of incentivizing productions. That is one area where entire SMEs and even large corporates look at. Whatever we are getting, we should be incentivized more. This has always been a thrust, and second, reducing of taxes for the SMEs. I think. See, you are smiling. Neeru ma'am is smiling. So it goes to show this will always come up as a recommendation to the finance ministry.
Absolutely. I think, but having said that, sir, I do feel that increasing the sunset clause for the new manufacturing setups by 1 more year is again something which is progressive and in line with the Make in India initiative and the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, encouraging more players to actually,
And did you hear? And I think I would love to hear from all three of you, because you all are eminent CAs. We are again reviving the SEZs.
That's right.
This is very good. the last policy had said that I think March 30 was the last date, 2019, and I think we had all forgotten about SEZ. Now I think a new policy on the SEZs will come up again. I think that is also a very, very new progressive thing. Maybe I think you all will study more onto that once the policy comes in.
Sir, definitely, because the common feedback that I got from a lot of my clients who were operating in the SEZ, it was meant to be a game changer in line with what is happening globally as well, where you have dedicated industrial zones which are catering to the export market in a big way, and there is a lot of incentivization and there is a lot of aggregation of a lot of the facilities and the infrastructure. So you are in an ecosystem which supports that kind of manufacturing and export as well. But I think somewhere I believe this scheme lost its way because it was not being channelized properly. And I was talking to someone in the government and they mentioned that yes, the government acknowledges that there were some backlogs or there were some deviations that were happening, and the revised scheme that will finally be tabled in terms of the SEZs will, I think, also take care of all these lacunas.
Yes. So, Anand, this is also a very positive sign. We are just not things out in the shelf, but we are also trying to revive it.
Yes. Absolutely, sir.
All right.
Sir, I think
right.
another... Yeah, sorry, Sheetal.
No, please go on.
Sir, what do you feel in terms of this proposal from the finance minister today that wherever it concerns government tendering and the government e-procurement process, there they have decided to waive off this requirement of parking bank guarantees?
And I'm sure all three of you will smile because this was one big gain for so many people bidding for it.
Absolutely.
What can you say? I think more than me, I think all three of you should throw light on this because this is remarkable. This is historical.
Sir, I know of so many clients who were actually, talking to banks and trying to, strike a deal purely for funding of these bank guarantees.
Yes.
And that was becoming a nightmarish experience for them.
Even for you as their accounting firm, because yes. I don't know how you would go and represent to the financial institution the credibility.
Absolutely, sir. So if they already have, running term loans and other credit facilities, then it was quite a challenging experience because then there were a lot of parameters to look at if you could actually arrange the non-fund based limits for them as well.
This is very good, and I think both the other two ma'am should also speak on this because this is itself will give lot of confidence to the entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. Ma'am, your thoughts?
Of course, the working capital will be greatly affected. They had major part of their working capital used to go into bank guarantees only, and then tender used to be allotted or not allotted. Those 4 months that bank guarantee used to take time to release. So I think working capital liquidity will really increase. And now the next point is surety. How are the surety bonds they are going to execute? How cumbersome they are going to be, or how easy that is to be? That is yet to be. Because you have seen, I know in VAT and all, surety bond was a very cumbersome process. Mm-hmm. With inspection, verification. I mean, those cumbersome things are there, then things will be little difficult. So ease of doing business, maybe that helps. That is yet to be seen.
Okay. Yeah, Megha ma'am, your thoughts on this? Okay, let's just go. Okay, so like everyone, can you please highlight 2 points that appeals the most in the budget? Ravi sir.
I would number one, I would go in for because I am myself a big advocate for renewable energy. So I think the solar 14,000 crore solar fund, because we ourselves are working with many family offices on solar adoption. I think this is something on the solar part is very, very welcomed, very much welcomed. We all have to go and adopt solar. That's one very positive point. I will think about it. And the second is, I think we had never heard of revising our ITR after 2 years. So I think that is one thing. I think this is new India, the way we saw moratorium mein hum log ke paas paise aaye. To be very honest, Anand and Niruji and Meghaji, I think this is the first time in my entire 49 years that I've seen literally paise aaye hamare paas. Whatever. Now this is the first time again we'll be hearing, Anand, that you can revise your ITR. This is that also 2 years. That is amazing.
And sir, this just shows the level of trust that the government wants to place with its taxpayers now. That we do acknowledge that yes, there are times when bona fide mistakes are made, and you are struggling. Because sir, if I were to just give you the procedural aspects behind, if today 1 year has lapsed and a client does realize in due course that yes, there is an omission, probably the finance team made an omission, maybe there was an omission on his or her part, they actually have no recourse, and they will just have to probably with bated breath wait for the taxman to come at the door or send them a notice that look, this is something which is not in line with what your financials suggest, and there appears to be some deviation or discrepancy there. Now at least it is ensured that they have sufficient time to go back to the tax office and actually make a bona fide claim that look, there was a mistake and we want to undo and pay taxes thereon. I do want to, sir, though, from a practical experience perspective, see if, let's say, there is a certain amount of taxable income that has been disclosed by a taxpayer, and subsequently, even after the 1 year threshold period has lapsed, and the taxpayer goes back to the department and says that look, there was a bona fide claim which I did not take, and my taxable income and my tax liability in fact needs to reduce. I don't know how the tax authorities will view this kind of an omission. So,
and as you know, it will not be a welcome move at all.
So,
at least my experience of 34 years, I have never seen an officer saying, okay, I give you the claim. Additional tax has to be put on us.
But I think that's the beauty of actually working in an economy like India.
We have to juggle.
Absolutely. Sir, one area which I wanted specifically to know your thoughts on, because this has been of specific interest to us. What do you make of the government's impetus on the digital economy and the digital architecture? Because there was obviously a lot of thrust in that aspect today.
Anand, Government of India has already instituted a commission called the Capacity Building Commission. It has already come into place, the Capacity Building Commission, and the focus of Government of India today, even in this budget today by the Honorable, is how well they are adopting to new technologies.
Mm-hmm.
They spoke about digital rupee also they spoke about adopting blockchain technology.
That's right.
Also, I think they have talked about digitalization of all the post offices, connecting them with the bank.
Absolutely.
Now, Anand, technology is the next thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The faster you adopt, the better it is. We as a country, we are acknowledging the fact and we are adopting. Don't forget, Anand, we are a country of 130 billion. How smooth did our Arogya Setu work? I think it's a case study even in US.
Absolutely.
We could not just oversee it and go and take our injections if we don't go through Arogya Setu. That's the strength of our technology. And now we are bringing each and every. Yes, I think the income tax website was taking some time to be in place. But other than that, I think we are adopting, and I feel the policy makers are going on the right direction. We will see more adoption.
Sir, I do completely agree that, I think what the Honorable Finance Minister has done today is lay a roadmap, which he has done even in a previous budget, but she just carried on further. She's saying, she is no way saying that this is the end goal, but this is a journey that we are now embarking on. And the journey has to go towards digitization, towards technology, embracing technology and being with technology, yes. So,
but this digital rupee is going to bring a marked change in the banking structure. I mean, it is going to banks have to rethink, reskill themselves.
And Niruji, if you see from that perspective, but then I will also say and I would love to hear all three of you's view. That means we are accepting the fact that sooner or later we have to go into digital currency. That means we have already started preparing for it.
The taxation of cryptocurrency is a way of the government accepting the trading of cryptocurrency, legitimizing it, and secondly putting their currency that you don't use the private currency but use the government currency. So I feel this is the move of or plan of the center government.
Ma'am, definitely, I think the fact that they have placed the mandate with the RBI to issue the digital currency, which to me, at least from what I heard, appears to be the now national digital currency of India, means that any other forms of cryptocurrency, at least from an India perspective, is deemed invalid and illegal.
Yes. That is what they actually could not make it illegal. They could not declare it illegal. This is the mode of bringing their own currency and replacing the cryptocurrency. And that is why the tax rate is so high.
Ma'am, though, one thing which I would definitely like to add, because I've been, mapping this space very closely. If you see the kind of fluctuation that I see in all the cryptocurrencies across, be it Bitcoins, be it Ethereum, ma'am, it is something which is, has a very high degree of speculative, intrinsic value. And I think the government wants to safeguard against that. They want some sort of a regulation, and it doesn't not to be like completely.
Because there was no regulation to safeguard the small investor who is lured to invest in this kind of currency.
Absolutely.
Because seeing the profits. And actually, very few number of people are making the profit. Most of them are going into losses. This is my experience of whatever client base I have.
Okay. So, Megha ma'am, we would like to understand your viewpoint. Like, can you highlight 2 points that appeals the most in the budget?
Yeah, for me, I will say first of all that is the litigation part, because when I was hearing to the speech of Honorable Finance Minister, she was mentioned, like even we all know, like there have been litigation pending at various levels. So if anything is pending before the High Court or Supreme Court, even then the taxpayer is always under an obligation to file an appeal with the officers, and they will simply pass the order, and then it just goes and on and on. But now even the government, they also recognize the fact that given if litigation it has been pending at at a higher level at High Court or Supreme Court, they should at least not force the assessee to file any appeal and just keep the proceedings on hold for a while. So waiting for some guidance from the higher courts. That is the major point.
Okay. Thank you so much everyone for putting your viewpoint on this year's union budget. And to wrap up the discussion, I would be giving like 30 seconds so you can just share your viewpoints. You can sum up the budget. 30 seconds to just sum up the budget, and we can understand what were the key points in this budget. So Ravi sir.
Number one, we are now looking at India 2.0. Number two, we are looking at reducing compliances. Number three, we are looking at India adopting digitalization. Number four, we are recognizing the fact that MSMEs need more of focus. And most importantly, number five, we have also thought about education sector, how children have lost out on 2 years, 2 crucial years, how to bring back knowledge and right curriculum to them. I think all these things can be summed up for this budget.
Thank you so much. Anand sir.
So I think sir has very rightly summed up all the key ingredients of this budget. I will just say that this budget was, thankfully, I would use the word, devoid of any flim-flam, of any exuberance. It was a focused budget. It was a balanced budget with a key focus on growth. They are not promising any quick fixes or any big ticket announcements. They are saying that the path of growth and sustainable growth is a long drawn process. It will take the next 2 to 3 years. Be patient, be with us, and the government is doing all it can to actually have an inclusive development across the economy. So all in all, very happy with the focus and the theme of the budget.
Thank you so much. Neeru ma'am.
Yeah, according to me, there is no change in the tax environment. This is an indicator that the country is on the growth path. The recovery path has started and the growth will soon come after it. It was a very stable budget, progressive budget, and some disappointments are always there.
Okay. Yeah. Megha ma'am.
Yeah, I'll say it's a long-term budget, not focusing on the short-term things, and definitely boosting the growth of India.
Thank you so much everyone for sharing your viewpoints on the budget, Union Budget 2022. It was really a very good session. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining in.
And in fact, thank you BNB team. I think it was absolutely right in time to do a budget at the very right day. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. We really appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.